Okay guys, before we get into the meat and potatoes of today's video, I want to give a shout out to this previous video we just did, and it'll make sense as we go through. First, shout out to you guys hitting 1,000 views on this video. Why don't people beat their games? You know, very happy with that. Like I've said before, guys, we only have 336 subscribers, so that means a lot to me for a video to get 1,000 views. But these comments, I really appreciate the comments, guys. And we're going to go straight to my man, Marvin, here. And he said, true, there are some misses in my library that I thought would be fun, but actually weren't that good. But there were some that were the opposite case. Sometimes the game is so good that we don't want it to end. When you beat the game, that's it. Even if you've done everything there is to do, beaten every side quest, maxed out every character, collected every item available, seeing the end means goodbye. So I told Marvin, games we don't want to end. So Marvin, this video goes out to you. Thank you guys, all the new subscribers, everyone who thumbs up, everyone who commented. I appreciate you guys. Now let's get on to the video. Games we never wanted to end. Guys, have I ever told you that A Hat in Time is one of, if not my favorite game of all time? Why is that? Guys, it just pulls me back in. Every time I think I'm done, there's a new level to beat. Sure, the base game only has 40 timepieces, but it's had 2 DLCs and so many fan community maps. They've created course after course with plenty of creative timepieces that always gives me a reason to fire that bad boy up and check it out. So that begs the question. Have you ever played a game that you just love? The lore, the movement, the world building, the mechanics, just everything, and thought to yourself, man, I don't ever want this game to end. I know I sure have. So today we're going to look at games that were so darn good I never wanted to finish them. Now, personally, guys, I'm going to be looking at games without sequels. We're going to be leaving sequels off. Even though I loved Mario Galaxy, like that game was one of my favorite games for the longest of times, I'm not going to include it on this list because Mario Galaxy 2 was more of the same, just as good. So we're going to leave Mario Galaxy off for today. Other games like Fallout 4 and Grand Theft Auto 5 are games I wish never ended as well, but honestly, those games feel like they never end. So I'm going to omit games that are quite lengthy in their duration. Now, that's not to say that sequels couldn't make your list. There are plenty of games that got sequels, and the sequels weren't as good, they changed something up, they just weren't as magical as that first time. So maybe they changed mechanics, development teams, anything like that that makes the sequel feel like it's not as good as the sequel. Or the prequel, or the base game, however you want to say that. So be sure to leave your suggestions and recommendations in the comments below. Here we go. Starting off the list is going to be Pokemon Red and Blue, and we'll throw Yellow in as well. I knew from the second that I saw Marvin's comment, the game that was going to be the start of this video was going to be Pokemon Red and Blue. There's just not anything really to do in the post game. Pokemon has some of my favorite post games of any video game. I remember with Diamond and Pearl, when you beat the game and all the crazy stuff you get to do afterwards. Then Oraz, I think, is probably my favorite post game in any video game ever. But when you go back to Red and Blue, I mean, you're talking humble beginnings. Sure, fighting Mewtwo is the definition of epic, but I've always felt like there's no reason to grind to get all your Pokemons to level 100s other than fighting your buddies. When you look at the way that Silver and Gold let you run around Kanto and fight Red, and then Emerald and moving forward had their battle facilities, it means when you look back at Red and Blue, the OG Pokemon games feel a little hollow when it comes to the post game. Not to mention, a post game that made it possible to collect all 150 of the base Pokemons would have been nice. I mean, like an island to swim off to, or an area where you needed all 8 TMs to traverse, or HMs to traverse. Something like that would have made it just a little easier to collect all 150 Pokemons. I know you got to trade to get some, so you were never going to be able to get all 150 on one cartridge. But maybe like somewhere you could go catch the other starters or something, you know, just anything that would have helped you fill out that Pokédex. Or even, like I was saying, a battle tower or some area where you could fight trainers, or even the ability to re-battle trainers you've already beat. Yes, this is all things that would go on to be added to the franchise later, but I always think back to, man, I wish there was more to do in Red and Blue after you beat the game. Next up, we're going to look at Kirby 64. Kirby 64 is a game I've beaten and desperately wanted more power combinations, more levels, and more shards to collect. On one hand, I feel like the game masterfully blends simplicity of level design on a 2D plane with a tad bit of complexity from all the power-up combinations. The length is also near perfection, so maybe I'm being greedy for wishing more content was put into this game. But it would be so awesome to dust off Kirby 64 and have a new world to explore, a power-up to discover, or a reason to revisit levels that are old favorites. As it is, I still think Kirby 64 is a 2D masterpiece and one of my favorite platformers of all time. Can you blame me for wanting more? The game we're going to talk about next is Nintendo Land. A weird choice for the final spot on this list, but hang with me for a second. I love party games. I play so many with my wife. But since I'm omitting sequels, it eliminates Pokemon Stadium and the Mario Party franchise. Even Wii Sports got a sequel. I think Nintendo Land should have at least got DLC to include Splatoon, which was going to be a new franchise launching on Wii U. For those of you that don't know, Nintendo Land was a Wii U launch title that was a digital amusement park / arcade showcasing some of Nintendo's biggest franchises like Mario, Zelda, Metroid, and Pikmin. Heck, Murasami's Castle even made it into this game. Yet some of Nintendo's biggest characters weren't featured at all. Some who even got Wii U titles later on. These characters include Fox and Kirby. I get Nintendo Land not getting a full-fledged sequel like Wii Sports did, but it definitely should have got a DLC. The game is very fun. I bust it out anytime I want to show off the Wii U, and people realize, like, man, Nintendo Land was a pretty fun game. I've said it in other videos. It encapsulates the gamepad so well, or at least shows off the gamepad super well. And I think it would have been really cool to get a DLC that had Star Fox, Kirby, Splatoon. I mean, we could probably think of other stuff. I mean, what if it had got Bayonetta? What if it had got Astral Chains or Pokemon or something like that? That would have been a very sweet DLC package. So guys, those are the games that I wanted to talk about. I'm sure there's plenty more. I tried to leave off, long RPGs. I left off like Ocarina of Time or Final Fantasy VII because those games, they kind of feel complete. Even though, yes, I would love for more things to do in Ocarina of Time. Don't get me wrong, that's one of my favorite games of all time. It just feels like there's already so much to do in games like that I kind of wanted to leave them off this list, and I didn't want to focus on games with sequels. So even though I look at something like Mario Galaxy, like, oh man, I love Mario Galaxy. At the same time, it got a full-fledged sequel that was basically, more Mario Galaxy. So this is where I'm going to turn it to you guys. What are some games you could never get enough of? You never wanted to put it down, even when you beat it, even when you 100%ed it, you were like, man, can this game get DLC? Can this game get a sequel? Can this game get something? Like, I don't want this game to end. Let me know what games left you feeling that way. Again, thank you to all our new subscribers. Keep it up, guys. I'd love to see this channel grow. I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Peace out, everybody.